Good morning. Dr. Laurent Mieville, Director of the Technology Transfer Office of the University of Geneva and author of the book From Science to Business. Thank you very much for attending the University Industry Interaction Conference. Welcome to Amsterdam. Thank you very much for your keynote speech this morning. It was truly interesting. Now I would like to ask you some questions. And first of all, you were presenting the case study or the case of Switzerland when they are collaborating with businesses. We've seen that the figures are amazing and you seem to have a very good relationship with business. However, I still believe that you must have some barriers. You must have some things issues that you still need to overcome. What would you say is still your main barriers, even though your relationship is excellent?
No, I fully agree. I think we have to be also careful not to only show a rosy picture. And I think one of the issue that is still there, and I think it's probably the same in many other countries, is that sometimes you have difficulties with companies. It's not always easy, and that's normal. But what we see is that often it's the our Swiss companies that are the most difficult partners to partner with. And that's surprising, because you could think because they are local, they are close by, they should know us. But at the same time, I think it's more difficult for them to work with us because they believe that they are entitled to get access to IP in a more like a priority way or a cheaper way, because they are Swiss, they contribute to the Swiss economic system. And I think one of the issues is also to convince companies that it's not because you are in the country and you are paying taxes that you should have a privileged access. And I think it's kind of surprising that companies, even big companies, are more difficult to work with when they are located nearby. But I think it's just a matter of discussion. And for your question, I have a small anecdote. And somebody called me and said, before the technology transfer offices, it was easier for us to make deals with the researcher. And I said, yes, maybe, and most likely it was more difficult. It would be more difficult for you to do business with us now. But at the same time, if we work together, we do the right deal. Otherwise, the risk is that if we are not there to help you figuring out a good deal, then people outside university will complain, and this will be very bad for the reputation of both the university and the company. Mm-hmm. So I think by talking to people, by exchanging, we can really improve the things. But it's true that there are sometimes, and I have to say, universities have also the same issue. Sometimes they need talking to be able to partner with. So it's very important to get this talking going on.
Okay, seems to be there a matter of expectations. So when you still not have the relationship, different parts expect different things. So to have that communication, put expectations in place, and then start a relationship.
That's right.
Okay,
especially
nice.
For companies that are local, maybe you don't make the effort to interact a lot. You think it's natural, but it's not. And you really have to sit down and work with them and talk to them, and then you can really agree on some common goals. So that's, I think, the key message. It's not because they're next door that you don't have to do this effort to engage and exchange.
I do have another question for you. You're talking about how do you do with researchers and academics to collaborate with business. You sit them there, they need to have a good relationship, they need to have good skills to do that. However, in most universities in Europe, when they are vacancies for researcher, for academic, they still look for a profile that is this traditional profile of academic with publication in good journals, this researcher that has also made publication, that has outstanding projects or research. So we are hiring people based on that criteria, but once they are in our institution, we're saying, oh, and now you need to do something else that I didn't hire you for, which is also to cooperate with business. I'm just wondering if in your university, which is the criteria by which you hire people? Is this traditional one, or are you incorporated any elements related to business?
No, I have to say it's still traditional one. We are a university that's very much traditional in the way they do research. But this is not negative for me. I think it gives the freedom for researchers to first do the research, but then what happens is that they get in touch with other researchers that are very active. And I think the contact with other researchers and the wish then to do themselves something interesting and something productive, and technology transfer is very important. And it's a bit my experience. When I left Switzerland, I went to the US, I met with other people, I was in contact with other people, with so many contacts, and I was really, I became convinced of that kind of relationship by meeting other people doing it. And I think I rather have good scientists in my university that get convinced, instead of having people that are much more focusing on technology transfer, but basically maybe they lack the really recognition in terms of science. And I think it would be great to have both. And there are people that have both, but usually what happens is that you build a strong base of science, and then you just make sure that the people are kind of have the envy to actually start doing technology transfer afterwards by putting them in contact with other colleagues that had success. For us, it worked very well. But I agree that in the future, many people would like to have more criteria when you hire a new professor to make sure that he or she is able to collaborate in a very constructive manner with industry. That's something that could be interesting to put on the table.
And that's on the line of my last question, because this is a question that I'm asking to all our keynote speakers. My question is, how do you see university-industry relations in 10 years? How you can predict the future of this area?
Well, we've been discussing that. Some people say that maybe my function will disappear. That means, as you mentioned, researchers will become so expert themselves in technology transfer that there won't be the need of having people in separate office helping them to do that. So maybe in 10 years from now, there will be researchers that are really, from the start, knowledgeable about technology transfer. They can do the negotiation themselves. They are hands-on. That could be one of the outcomes. I'm not saying there's going to be the outcome, because I think there is still a lot of question about how much complexity in terms of legal complexity are there, and I'm not sure that a researcher in physics could master that. But I think it would be actually pretty cool for me if, after being there, we could help researchers to be better and better, and then we are not necessary anymore. We could do something else, but I think this could be an interesting future if this would happen.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting, different view of the future for someone that right now is having that position.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's all. Thank you very, very much for your words. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope you enjoy this day in Amsterdam.
I will.
Thank you.